Hi and welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're going to be looking at Kyosho and Schumacher, how things went in 2022 and 2023. Now, you quite like the Tamiya video that I put out a day or so ago. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link up here. Now, loads of comments came in, so I just want to focus on that first, and then we'll move to Kyosho, and then we'll get Schumacher at the end. So, quite a few comments came back. There was some kits that I totally missed. And forgot about. When I'm writing things down and going through, there's always something, and then as soon as you comment on it, it jogs my memory. So I'll go through the actual releases. There was some I missed. So the list of current Tamiya releases that are coming: there's the Egress Black on the 1st of December. This is UK. Price $519. Then there's the Mark 1 Golf on the MO5. Completely forgot about that one. That's coming on the 24th of November, and that's £129. Obviously, we've had the MO5 before, but that body set is really nice. Very difficult to paint box art. Very difficult. Then we've got the Nitro TG10 Mark II. That one I did talk about. That is going to be £600 give or take, going by the price. I couldn't find any fixed prices in the UK, but if you look at the actual photographs from the trade show, they were saying it was 75,680 yen, which is £455. So add in import and all that kind of shipping and stuff like that, then you're looking at between, I don't know, 550, 600 ish, I would guess, but I couldn't find any actual prices. Then we had the TB Evo 8, which is due on October the 31st. That's £650 in the UK. I would love one of those to put a body on, but £650, that's well out of my budget. Then, like I said before, the M4A3 tank, which is a 135th, that is going to be 26,180 yen, which is £157. So I assume with the import and stuff like that, you'll be looking at £180 to £200 for that tank. Then there's the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 5 that we did talk about, due on the 27th of October on the T202 at £129. So that is pretty much everything that's coming. But like I said in the previous video, there's nothing super vintage that's new or anything like that. Yeah, the MO5 has been out a few times. The Evo 8 obviously is a beautiful bit of kit, but unfortunately I can't stretch to that. The tank is quite an interesting one, and then the Nitro, obviously I'm not really a Nitro fan, but I would be tempted, but again, budget-wise, it's just very difficult for me to get one of those on the show as well. But my favourite was obviously the Lancer. That was brilliant, and £129, total bargain if you ask me. So that covers all the actual cars that are coming out as we speak now. So that covers everything, because there was that. So now let's focus on some of your comments, and yes, there was a few that I totally missed off of the list. And kicking off with James and Chris 1, the Hotshot 2, of course. I'm so busy focusing on the Super Sabre. The Hotshot 2, we would all love to see that for sure. If anything, I think personally I'd rather see the Hotshot 2. Why? It totally slipped my mind. Well, there you go. Another one, Alex, and quite a few of you commented, the Dynastorm, Dynablaster. Yeah, the Dynastorm would be a Halo release for sure. It's a beautiful buggy. I did have one, and one of you, I forget who it was now off the top of my head, bit my arm off and offered me a decent amount of money for it, and it went off. So hopefully there'll be a as I would love to get one of those back in the collection. I had a look online, and they are now going for what I was offered about a year ago for it. So prices are super strong, so there's no way I'm going to get one back on the show unless they release it, especially if you want to add a Acto Power pink motor onto it, because oh yeah. Steve D did a really good one. He said, why not do a blockhead boomer? And a lot of comments, very positive comments, of they want to see more blockhead kits, which I think would be a really nice collection. If you're a box collector, I think picking up blockhead motors, if they started bringing out sort of 2 or 3 of them, I think would be a really good one. And they are very colourful, and I like the idea, especially from a manufacturing point of view. You've got a kit that they already make, and then you just put a different spin on it, but it's enough of a spin to make it really interesting for us collectors. The best kind of example of that, I personally think, was the June Watanabe, for sure. There was lots of effort. Even the manual was printed in purple, and there was lots of changes. So that made it a lot more unique than the likes of the Egress Black, for instance. Because I look at those two, and the amount of extra effort that Tamiya went to, doing the pink tyres, the black rims, the manual in purple, all the plastics in purple, the shocks in white. There was loads and loads of little tiny details done to that kit versus like the Egress Black. So whether we'll ever see something at that level again, I honestly don't know. Duncan commented TC01 Hurricane. Yeah, that would be really nice for sure. And then he also said an XVO2 959. I don't think many people would be too happy to see that, if I'm fair. But he did comment that this may get him blasted. And hey, an XVO2 959, I don't think so. I think Tamiya should leave it alone or do it as it is. Now, Lee Hurst did comment, well, why don't they just do it with the Racing Porsche livery? Like I said in the previous video, they'll do it as a street or something. They could pretty much do it in the standard colours with the lines and just leave off certain stickers, decals, and then you can fill it in yourself. They could do that, or they could do it just as a hint of that. But to be honest with you, I think most of us would be happy just to have it as a street, and then we would figure it out ourselves. But just bring it out, Tamiya, please. There was one or two other comments in regard to Tamiya focusing too much on their rears and not bringing out new chassis. And yes, they have to get the balancing act right. Now, we had the TD2 and the TD4. In Tamiya's defense, I would say is very expensive and it's a big gamble. And with the TD4, for instance, I don't necessarily think it paid off that well. I think the chassis itself was a really good one, but the body of it, I don't think it appealed to enough people that it was really beautiful. So even though they've made a good chassis, it's very difficult to get home runs. Best way to look at it. So, you know, it's really difficult, and we are very sticklers over what we like. A really good comment, and that was the 100th anniversary of Le Mans is due next year in 2023. So will we see a Group C car from them? That would be a really good one. I'm pretty sure that being it's going to be 100 years, we should see something. And maybe that's what they're planning all along with the C11, that they've now got that chassis that they could drop another one, maybe the Mazda, like I said. But being it's a 100-year anniversary, they could tie that up in a really nice sort of box packaging to style. So maybe that's something. So that's a really good comment. I didn't know that myself. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that would be a brilliant one for Tamiya. I think that pretty much covers everything from Tamiya. So let's turn our attentions to Kyosho. Now, I went off and I had a look through their website. I must admit, Kyosho's website is looking pretty polished these days. Right, let's kick off with, well, Kyosho has obviously its departments, its Mini Zs, its 1/10, its Nitro 1/8 and stuff like that, as well as a load of others. So we'll kind of put it down into its groups, really. 1/10 big Phaser Mark II chassis, bit like the TT02 of the Tamiya. Loads of Americana muscle cars they've got currently out at the moment. You've got the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat, the 1969 Chevy Camaro, the 1969 Chevy El Camino, the 1967 Pontiac GTO, and I have to say, these bodies are beautiful. They're absolutely stunning. I haven't actually had a Phaser chassis, so I honestly can't comment on how good it is. These are obviously ready to runs. This is a little bit different. These are not kit form. Then they seem to be bringing out more and more of those, and they seem to be very popular, and I can see why if you're in America for sure. One thing I was wondering is whether we'll see any traditional British racing cars. There's some very good ones. Jaguar E-Type, you know, Aston Martins, all those kind of things, whether they'll end up doing some of those, because they are very popular cars as well. And going by the amount of detail that they're putting into these muscle cars, they could do some really Beautiful classic British racing cars, and obviously these are not just for the UK, but they are iconic cars around the world. So maybe, you never know. We are getting the Mini Z Defender that just came out on the Heritage Edition. But if you want to see a really good review of the Mini Z Defender, head over to Andy Robinson at Andy Robinson RC. He did a whole thing on it. He is a big Defender fan, and it's a lovely little bit of kit. But I'll come on to more of it in a bit. The other departments they've obviously the Mad Wagon group, the bashers if you like. They've got the Mad Wagon VE, which is the brushless one. I'm so close to getting a Mad Van on the show, like 3 or 4 times. The original one and then the brushless one. I did have the USA one, the big monster truck. I did a video of it. I'll put a link up here. Go check it out if you want to. That was crazy fast straight out of the box. And they had the chance to put 2 motors in it, so God knows what that would be like. The thing I found with that one was it wasn't sure whether it was a full-on basher or whether it was a monster truck. So I think if you drove it on 2S, it drove more like a monster truck, but once you threw 3S into it, the thing was bonkers. It kind of reminded me of I wanted to drive like an X-Maxi kind of thing, but how much it could stand up to, but it really just wanted to go. It was nuts. But I sold that one on. Then Kyosho has its Legendary series, which is obviously the one I'm most interested in, and there's now 11 of them, and not one of them has been discontinued yet. And that interests me a lot, whether they'll just keep adding to it or whether eventually they will discontinue one. One thing I know for sure, the minute it's officially discontinued, that kit will rocket in price. For fact, I know it will. So the last one that's been released was the Mid, which was an absolute icon release. I think that's my personal release for 2022. I think they took the crown on the Halo release, as so many people wanted that, and they did an epic job of it. Not only did they upgrade it, it was brushless out the box. It had belt tensioner added to it. The quality of it was fantastic. The only thing I can criticize it for is some of the parts are quite expensive. Like if you want to get another body set now, oh my God, it's expensive in the UK. Because I wanted to get another body kit so that I could actually upgrade my original one, because I wanted to put an original body on it. I've got original decals. I was actually gifted some, but to actually get an official body, oh yeah, it's expensive. So will we see another Legendary series? Well, we still have the Phantom EPCRC-II, I think that's how you pronounce it, on 30637. I am getting one of those on the show. It's due September 2022, so not long now, as well as the Le Mans Gold motor. That will be definitely coming to the show. I'm itching to get my hands on that, being a big Phantom fan. So we're getting that. So what will we see next from them in their vintage line? And that is really exciting. Now I'm hoping that because the Mid was so successful, what will we get next from that range? Well, there's a lot of cars in that family, but honestly I think they won't just bring out each one, being the way they did the decals when they originally released the Mid, that you could do a turbo Mid. They won't just do one a year or something like that, which is what I thought they might do. I think they'll skip ahead maybe to the long wheelbase, so we could see them jumping straight to the Toms. Could we see a Turbo Optima Mid Special, which was the very rare one, which is right up here? Could we see that being released? I don't know. Or another variant. Don't think we'll see the last Mid. I don't think they'll jump quite that far, but we could see a Toms or a Special. I honestly don't know, but I'm pretty sure that we will see another Mid being released, as it's been a brilliant success. Now, Kyosho is massive for their Mini Zs, and this is something I've never had a Mini Z on the show, and there's loads of them. They're now coming up to the 20th anniversary, so that, you know, it is a big staple for them, and I can understand why the Mini Zs are so popular, especially if you don't have much space. Very big in Japan, where you don't have tons of room. You know, racing them around a little tiny track, you don't need tons of room, and the quality, detail is amazing. My only problem with them personally is that in the UK they are priced at the same as the 1/10. So I personally see that I might as well just get the 1/10 instead of a Mini Z. The biggest Kyosho car that I really am lusting over right now is the Nissan Skyline 200 GTR, and that retails in the UK. I can get that now for £240, whereas the Mini Zs, to get the standard sort of average Mini Z is 190, and if you go to something like the Defender Mini Z, that was £230. So I could get the Mini Z Defender, or I could get the 200 GTR for like £10 more. So I just can't bring myself to get past it to buy the Mini Zs, even though I do hear very positive things about them. Why would I not just get a 1/10 and the detail level of some of their ready to runs? So I will personally, I think I'm going to spend my money on getting a 200 GTR more than picking up a Mini Z. Comment below, let me know, would you like to see more Mini Zs? Another side of it is Kyosho, obviously big with their Nitro 1.8s. There's a couple of new releases. They've got the MP10TE Inferno, which is 34115. That's an electric brushless one, but you are looking at £914 in the UK. And I do like 1.8s. I have actually had 1.8 before. And a Hobayo one, and then that was brilliant. That was a budget entry into 1.8. They're a bit too expensive for me to get into. Obviously I've got my X-Max, that kind of fills that massive sort of need, but to actually get more of those on the show would be pretty impossible. Maybe if the channel ever gets big enough and the revenue I make can cover that kind of kits, I would then expand it. That's probably the biggest challenge for RCKicks at the moment, is the budget. The budget per video is not very high, so some of these are very expensive. Spending £300 on a kit and then doing 2 videos, that makes £100 maximum. Obviously that's a £200 loss straight away every single video. So that pretty much covers Kyosho, but we are seeing a lot of movement from them, and it's great to see that they are still bringing out their Legendary series and you can still get hold of them. My advice would be, if you want a Legendary series, get it while you can, because I can't see them continuously having all 11 available. Now, they tend to ebb and flow, the way I've sort of seen it, that they kind of come into the country, they dry up, it gets quiet, they get hard to get hold of, and then they come back again. So there's a bit of an ebb and flow, and then a new set come in, they're available again, and then they disappear. So I wouldn't hang around, because at some point they will discontinue one, no idea which one, probably the one that's not the most popular. And especially if they're bringing in new ones, if they're going to bring in new kits, they're going to have to kill off one sooner or later, that's for sure. But there is 11 and they're all available. It just depends which country you're in as they come on ebb and flow, like I said. Right, let's move on to Schumacher. So Schumacher, well, at the moment there's the Cougar Laydown 2. Well, that came out on the 15th of June 2021. Obviously Schumacher Racing is very focused on their racing side of their business, so at some point there will be an update again. That's just how they work, because you racers out there love your latest and greatest. Mission FT, must admit, big fan of the Mission FT. I did a video on it. I've done a running video and a build video of it. That I think is a bit of a bargain. You can pick it up in the UK currently for £159, and it's a front wheel drive. Drives amazing, very different. I really liked it, and then you can swap it to be 4-wheel drive if you want to. But for £159, I have to say it was really good. Obviously you've got to buy your tyres and your body and things like that as well, but good. I was really impressed with it myself. Then there's the Storm ST. I've been itching to get one of those, but they're a little bit more expensive. I wouldn't mind getting one of those on the show at some point. Maybe I'll pick up a second-hand one if I can. Then there was obviously the Icon 2. I had the Icon 1, still haven't finished it. Sitting over there complaining at me, I need to finish the body on it and do a proper running video on it. But the Icon 2 came out, and they've been having some great success with the Icon 2. Then we have the Cougar Classic that was this year. Brilliant to see it come out, and I think it's been pretty successful for them. They're sold out as of today on their website, but I'm pretty sure if you hunt around you can still find it. Now, we were promised that we are going to get a 4-wheel drive version from them, Classic, and if I was going to guess, It's looking very likely that it will be a Pro Cat, which is the XLS, and then they moved on to the Pro Cat. Going by the way they did the Top Cat and then they did the Cougar, it would make sense from a manufacturing point of view as it's not miles away. So the big question is, will we get it for Christmas? Now, if I was Schumacher, I would definitely be looking to push it out November, December. Now, Schumacher don't tease anyone. They'll literally drop it onto their website and that's it. And it's like, hey, this is coming out in 3 days time, you can buy it. And that's it. That's their MO. So we don't find out right until it's available. So it could be November, end of November before we hear anything. I would hope they will do it before Christmas, because the way things are looking for 2023, it's not looking too good for dropping new kits. And I'd love to see it be very successful and people grab it for Christmas, and it does really well because we want to encourage them to do more. So we want to see more units from Schumacher from their vintage line. So we don't want it to die on its backside not because of them releasing it and people wanting it, just not people having enough money to be able to justify buying one, as 2023 is not looking that great. So hopefully that's one we'll see for Christmas, but I honestly don't know. So I think that pretty much covers everything. Comment below, let me know what have I missed, because there's always one or two things. Thanks so much. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification, as there's loads of other builds coming. I've got tons of boxes sitting behind me itching to be built. See you on the next one. Bye bye.